All right, there is 47,658 videos posted every hour by YouTube professionals on how to do bodywork and apply filler. I would say out of the 10,000 guys that post those videos, 9,873 of them are dumb dickheads. Don't do what they do. Just cut it out. Just saying. On a lot of videos and I watch YouTube. I see what they're saying. I see what they do. And a lot of their videos, am I cutting on the top of my own head here? Just, how's that? Is that better? All right, where was I? Most of these videos, the shit that I see from these peckerwoods is, so they'll take a panel, shitty old panel, like I got here. Don't worry, it's old, I ain't denting it. And they'll fix their dents and shit on it. And in some cases, they'll mix up filler and they'll put filler on 3 or 4 times in one area. Number one, if you got to apply filler to one dent 3 or 4 times, you need to get behind that dent and get busy and do some shit back there. With the hammers and the dollies and the making the racket. Number one. Number two, well, I don't know. Christ, what's number 2? Jesus, cut it out for Christ's sakes. Fix the damn dent. So what I'm doing here, let me just bounce all over the place. What I'm doing, is these were little dents. This is a ripple from the stamping. I don't know if you see down here, when I blasted these fenders, the rust pitting down there was really quite heavy. So, I don't know, it makes me feel better when the pits are that heavy to put a little fiberglass in there. That's the old Marglass, fiberglass, body filler, impregnated, whatever you use, that's what it is. So what I do here now is I do, like I said, put some filler in the dents, and I'll just sand them with a sander. Oh, yeah. This guy here. This guy here that's got, there you go, so many miles on him that he doesn't even want to go to work anymore. And then I'll get him pretty damn good with that, because that's a nice little sander. It's got the nice smooth action. It's almost just like using a block, you know what I'm saying? So I'll get him good with that. I didn't show, but this panel it's cleaned up with 80 grit. Stripped it, and I've gone over with 80 grit. So it's a nice smooth surface. Then I blew the shit out of it. Cleaned the surface right off. Got all the dust clean off of there. Then I soaked her down with some degreaser and made it shiny. And with that shininess that the degreaser gave me, making it shiny so you get a shiny reflection, because it's shiny, then you can see where all your dents and all your shit is. And I took a little grinder, zing, a little grinder, and where I seen a dent, I made a circle in it with a grinder. Because you can't circle it with a felt and stuff because it's got degreaser on it, right? So that's what I done. So then now after I cleaned and dried the fender all off, now I'm left with some little ground circles. So then I went back in again with the grinder, cleaned the little dent out. Then I did whatever body work I needed to do, from the backside with the smashing and the banging. And then when I'm happy with that, put a little bit of suave on there. So now I'm going to clean the suave off of here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some filler, some body filler, and I'm going to coat the entire section with just a light skim of filler. Oh, so small. Oh, so light. So small. And then I'm going to sand that out, and I'm going to sand it to my liking, and I'm going to like it, and then I'm going to prime it. And then when I'm priming it, that's all I'll be doing is sanding the primer, because I'm going to have a nice surface underneath the primer. If you watch these peckerwoods that put Bondo on there 11 times, body filler, whatever you want to call it, 11 times, and then they prime it, and then if they show you a video the first time that they prime it, the first few strokes of their paper, you can see that it's absolute shit that they've done under there. From these same guys that just finished telling you that they're the best dude on YouTube. You should watch what they do, because they're a professional, and they make show cars, and everything they do just looks so good that it looks like they sold their soul to the devil to be able to do it like that. And it's shit. You can see it because you can see shadows and valleys, and that it's just junk, and they got to clean all the primer off of there with some 100 grit or 120 grit, and then they go back in and they smear some more Bingus all over it, mix up body filler and pound that over top of their primer all over the place. Then they'll go back in there and reprime it, and then reblock it, and then they'll find out when they reblock it that where they put more mud over top of their previous coat of primer, well, now they just dug holes around that mud in the primer there, so now it looks like shit. Now they got a turd beside a turd. And by the time they're done filling it and priming it 4 times and blocking it out, they got so many stacks of turds on there. It's dumb. It's dumb. Cut it out. And not to mention, this is a good ramble, hey? Not to mention, primer ain't free. This filler costs $0.25 for a gallon of it of what I pay for a gallon of primer. It also dries in about 10, 12, 13, 17, 9 minutes. How long does it take for a catalyzed primer to dry? Overnight anyways, right? So if you're going by their procedure and you're filling it, then you're priming it, then you're sanding your primer, then you're filling it again, then you're priming it again, then you're sanding it again, then you're priming it again, then you're sanding it again, then you're priming it again, then you're sanding it again. The record skipping here. How long does that take if it takes a minimum of a day in between? You just spent a week and $1,100 worth of primer to get a big bag of dicks for a fender. So don't do that. That was rough, hey? So here, anyways, oh, I just about fell over there. I guess that's what karma gets you, hey? So I'm going to do some sand in here, and then we're going to go through the procedure here. And this video will not end with me blocking out the primer and proving it, but I will do a video. You'll see it happen. One thing to keep in mind, if you're going to do this kind of stuff and be using a machine, when you're on a fairly flat open area like this, the friction from the paper on your machine, in this case being 40 grit, and your filler, well, it creates some heat. It warms the panel up, and it warms it up for a pretty good sized area. So right now, this whole thing feels, to my delicate touch, feels like it's high. It might not be. It could just be that the metal is expanded a little bit because it's hot. So when you're getting close, as you can see, we're getting fuzzy around the edges, so you know you're getting close, unless you're stupid. At about this point, let it cool down. Move on to another spot. Because, I doubt that if you're doing this, that you're going to do her one little dinger at a time. I'm guessing that you'll probably have a couple of spots of filler on the panel that you can go back to another one, possibly until you warm it up. And then you let it cool, and then you come back and finish this guy off. See? All right, so you've done all that, right? That's all done. Now let's just pretend that it's kind of done and it's worth something, right? So we'll move on. Now, before you're going to put filler on, before this filler, you got to blow it off. Now I know you probably heard that before. People say you got to blow it off or the filler won't stick, and that's where they leave it. Well, let me explain to you exactly what will happen. Let me explain. So if you don't blow this off, your filler will go on there. You'll get her on there. Oh, you'll get her on there. But if you got a little layer of dust over it, you got to... Now, let me just say, all right? God damn it. So let's say this is a pocket of dust, and this is bare steel. Let's just pretend that this is just dust. You put your filler over top of that dust. Well, your filler is just going to roll on and lay right over top of it, right? That's the way it's going to go. So it'll get all hard, then you'll sand your honeymoon dick, because that's how hard your filler is going to get. and everything's just going to be peachy. And you're going to prime it, and you're going to do everything. You're going to paint it. Oh, holy hell, it's going to be a wet dream, right? Now, what's going to happen is when you're doing all that other shit to it, you're not going to realize that your filler, while it's level, there you go, sketchy. Hey, sketchy. While it's level and it looks just like a shaved peach, all over it, it ain't adhered here. It's flat on there, but it ain't, you know, the dust is, you know what I'm saying to you? So when it's going to give you a problem is heat and cold, expansion and contraction. Because the rest of this filler over where it's adhered to the metal because of your little bit of scratching, well, it'll move with the metal. But here, where it's not adhered to the metal because of the scratching, because there's that layer of dust underneath there, well, the filler and the metal are going to move independently of each other. And what will happen is when it gets hot, if you look at it, you might see whoop, a bubble. And it could be a big bubble, could be a little bubble. But you'll see, and it might even just look like a wave in it that comes and goes in the heat. And you look at it and go, huh, that's weird. But eventually, it's going to crack and it's going to come off of there. So that's why you want to blow it off. And when I say you want to blow it off, you want to blow this thing off like, you want to blow it like you owe money. And I don't mean you want to blow it like you owe it $5. I mean, you got to blow this thing like you owe this thing money and it's come to collect. You know what I'm saying to you? And you ain't got 2 nickels to rub together. That's the kind of blowing you got to do. Now, don't be getting tack rags and doing all that kind of stupid shit to it. You don't need to do that. You just got to blow the Jesus out of it. Right? And if you're doing this and you're wearing sleeves and you're doing body work, give the cuffs a little blow, because when you're doing stuff, if you smear a bunch of dust on there and then you carry on with the business, well, where are you? Where are you? You ain't nowhere. That's where. All right, as promised. Now, I don't know who the hell's watching this. Not very many people, I know that. Whatever. But I don't know if there's any old codgers watching this. People in their twilight years, you know what I'm saying? If there is, I know exactly what they're saying. They're saying that back in my day, we metal fit stuff, and we didn't cover it in this, and we didn't do this, and we didn't do that, and we didn't just smear Bondo all over everything. Well, no, you didn't, did you? Did you? No, you didn't. What you did back in your day was you got a tub of pink lacquer shit, and you put a 1/4 inch of that on, and then after that sat for 3 days and you could sand it. Well, you didn't sand it worth a shit. And then you put 1/8 of an inch of lacquer primer on over top of that. That's what you did. So there. So get off me, would you? And back in the day before people did this, cars didn't look like they do now. Go find you a car that was done in the 70s or late 60s that was considered a show car or whatever back then, and look at it the way that you'll look at it. The way that you'll look at cars that are done now. Everybody wants everything to be a sheet of glass and a mirror perfect reflection. Well, that old shit done back then, it wasn't a sheet of glass, and you didn't get a goddamn mirror perfect reflection out of it. And don't tell me that you did, because you ain't seen it, because it all fell apart long since then. So there. Get off me, would you? I mean, if you're looking, if you're watching, you can see that this is thin. It's thin. Oh, so thin. Now, one of the reasons for smacking it up and down the... Would you get off of me? I got a time frame to work in here. The temperature's picked up, and this shit's going to harden up fairly quick. So that's one of the reasons for smacking it all up and down the panel, because if you leave this shit in a pile on your Bondo board, you know, whatever you want to call that you're mixing your filler on, your piece of cardboard or your wife's cookie sheet or whatever you do. I don't know what you do. Jesus Christ, I don't know what goes on in your head. But if you leave it on there in a lump, well, it's going to start to harden up on you before you want it to. The thicker the filler is left, the quicker that it will harden because of the concentration in catalyst. See what I'm saying to you? Little science there. So if you smear it out thin like this, well, it's not going to harden up and you'll increase your time to be able to work it. Because if you don't get this applied nicely, well, holy shit, you're going to want to hang yourself by the time you're done trying to work it. You know what I'm saying to you? Work it, baby, work it. So the nicer that you can get this stuff applied, the easier that's going to make your job when you're deplying it. You know what I'm saying? When you're sanding it. Because you got to sand it. So what do you do? Listen, fatty knickers. You can't be here. I'm going to have to scare you. Ow, son of a bitch. Fucking cut it out. You're digging holes in me, goddammit. Quit it, for Christ's sakes. Son of a bitch. Oh. So, when you're doing this, if you're doing this, if you want to do this, if you're stupid enough to do this, you get this on here, get all your dough on there. Don't do that again. You're going to stick a hole in me, and I don't like that kind of stuff. We've already established that. Dum-dum. So, what you will do, goddamn you, when you get this on here, is I'll go over one of these with a nice sharp piece of 40 on it. All right, we'll see you later. And I guess you'd call it rough it in. You rough sand it, I guess. Maybe you call it. Is that what you call it? Is that what they call it? Is that what the big kids call it? I don't know what you call it. Sure. So this is 6 inches. 6 inches. That's your standard length, width, circumference. 6 inches. So basically with this stuff, yeah, I mean, a big sheet like this, you're not going to finish her up with this. I guess roundabout way to put it, you're going to be able to knock the nipples off, but you ain't going to flatten the tits out with this. So what we'll do is we'll go over it and we'll knock all the nipples off. And I mean, we'll clean some of the tits off of there, but this ain't going to do it. This fender really is only reasonably flat to about here. From about there, it curves in both ways. It's just a big curvy. So this is the only area that really, you know, we'll be able to hit with the flat board and whatnot. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this. So I don't know if you want to watch me sand or not. I'll probably shut this off or speed it up, or I don't know. I'll do something because, I mean, if I don't want to do it, what the hell do you want to watch it for? Oh, yeah. So you can see all the shadows. Sometimes you just got to resort to the old, you know, the old manual labor. As stated, these fenders are only flat to about here. This block, it's not very straight, which is perfect because everybody's curvy. And actually it's curvy this way too. So there is 80 grits on here, 80 of them. Well, it's a shitload more than that. And actually these curvy blocks, I mean, if you push on it, right? If you're to this point, shadows and whatnot, and you're still trying to straighten it out, well, I don't know what to tell you. Because if you're thinking that I'm going to wave it up with this, or this isn't going to work good to try to straighten it out, well, it's already straightened out. I'm just knocking scratches out of it now. You should, if you're doing this shit, you should pretty much be done leveling in your first flyby with paper. In this case, it was 40 grit on the old air mahwizzle back there. By the time you're done with the old air mahwizzle there, you should be 90% there. The rest of what you're doing after that is just cleaning the scratches up. And don't go too many steps, because the more you dick around with this, the worse it's going to get. Does that make sense to you? I don't care if it does. That's the truth. So stick it. See the round block, hey? We'll go to a little flatter of, you know how old that is? How old is this? So this thing has the original pad wore off of this many years ago, and it has a hunk of a deer hide glued to it. Because the shop I was in at the time, one of the bosses was a deer hunter. I'm just trying to think of what year that would have been. I believe I worked there when everybody was worried about the calendar turning over to 2000 and all the computers and cars resetting. So I glued the deer hide onto this block probably in 1999. That's 25 years ago I glued the deer hide to it. So I've had this at least 30, 35 years old, this thing is. And it's still here. And it still works. It's not laser milled at a goddamned anything that people want to sell you for $1,700 son of a bitch dollars. When you're sanding something, if you're coming into a curve like this, a flat going up into a curve, this is another reason why I like to use Velcro paper. So you can peel your paper off and you can hang it over the edge. See where I hung over the edge there a little bit? Now when I come into that curve, that paper's kind of got a bit of a soft edge to it. You know what I'm saying? You smell me? You smell me? You probably can. So it'll kind of work its way into that, eh? I should get a job writing descriptive text. One of the important reasons to try to get this in, we'll call it one sheet, like this upper section of this fender, to try to do it in one fill, let's say. Mix up enough filler to do it in one fill. Is when you're sanding it, you want it to be a similar consistency from the front to the back. If you got a splice line here or a splice line here, and you filled it, and then you went back and you had to mix up more filler, and then you came and you did the other side, well, not only do you have a difference in you're either going to have a valley or a hump between the edges of your two applications, or one side's going to be a little bit harder than the other. One's harder than the other. Oh. When you go to sand it, if you're sanding it in a timely fashion. So one side's going to sand a little quicker than the other. You might have a different amount of catalyst in one application of filler to the other, which will affect how hard that catalyst dries. Which is another tip. Don't put more hardener in Bondo to get it dry faster, because that will just make it more brittle, and that can lead to problems in the future, cracking, etc. So anyways, here, let me get a brush. God damn it. So I know that you can't see ultimately, but I mean, if you know anything about anything, you can tell that that's going to be there, right? It's there. It's going to be there. And I know that it's there. Like, it's good. It's going to be really good. Like I said, I'm going to go over it with some 120 and I'm going to prime it. And when I block it out, it's only going to get primed once. The only time that I prime shit twice here is if it's something that's got to be really ridiculously nice. And the only reason that I prime it twice is because I will take my first primer and I will sand it down with 180 grit till I'm happy with 100% of that surface. Then most people, you would guide coat it and move up a grit. I don't do that. I will put one more coat of primer, over-reduced primer, over top of that 180 grit sanded surface. Now that primer is going to fill those scratches in, and it's going to give me a smooth start, and then I will block that primer with 320. And in that case, I'm going to have to sand that entire surface again, so I am guaranteed to not miss any 180 grit scratches or not get them dug out. You can use guide coat to try to do that, but I guarantee you, guide coat doesn't go right to the bottoms of those scratches. You can sand it till the guide coat's gone. You can take some 180, guide coat it. You can sand it with 320 until the guide coat's gone. There's still deeper than 320 scratches in there, because that guide coat doesn't go right to the very bottom of that scratch. You knock the guide coat off of there, there's still some of that scratch left that's coarser than the 320. That make sense to you? You know what I'm saying to you? That's the way it goes. So anyways, there it is. That is how to not do body work like a YouTube hero. And you can go and you can look up other videos of people, and you'll see when they first do their first few strokes of blocking in that primer, you'll see their shadows of their high spots and their low spots, because their body work is shit underneath. And these are the guys that are telling you that they're awesome. They're not so awesome. I'm not telling you I'm awesome. I don't ever tell nobody I'm awesome, because I ain't awesome. This is just the trade. This is how you do it. The reason that I've learned to do it this way is I trained, and my beginnings in the trade were in body shops doing collision work. So you're not just screwing the day away. You got to get shit done. So then you learn the methods to get shit done, and in a timely fashion. It is right now, it has been about 2 hours this morning, and I'm a little over 2 hours in this afternoon. So real time, this has taken a little over 4 hours to get to this point. I still got to do the top, but it won't take long. So I would estimate that by the time I do all my edges and clean everything up and do my 120 in, I will probably be into this fender for between 5 and 6 hours to get it ready for primer. That might seem like quite a while, but once it's in primer, I mean, then it'll be a matter of another couple of hours blocking the primer out and it'll be done. I won't be repriming. I won't be putting more filler over top of the primer that's there, and then putting more filler over top of that, and then putting some drywall spackle over top of that, and then trying to hide it with a piece of wallpaper because it came out like shit and I don't want nobody to see it. It'll be done. So in the long run, it takes a little more time now on the front end, but on the back end, it's saving time. And it's giving you a better finished product. So, like I said, I don't know. If you picked anything up on this, if you give a shit, if you shut it off a half an hour ago, I don't know how long this video is going to be. Hope it ain't a half an hour. Better not be a half an hour. Jesus Christ. That's it. Is that it? That's it. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.